He's using science. He's hurting my feelings because he's using science.
Science.
Why isn't he using his feelings? Hey guys, we are back with another video. We are Meet the Simmons. This is our show. Enough said. So today, well, before we get started, give it our PSA. Give us our PSA. Yes.
Please like and subscribe. Ding.
Thanks, guys. We'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. If you're liking the video, if you like the video, hit the like button. That's a tip. Think of it that way. That's our tip. And please subscribe for more content. All right. So today we want to address something that we often address with couples. Communication is everything in your relationship. If you don't have communication, you don't have a relationship. Mm-hmm. So this is the beginning of our communication series that we're going to be doing. And the first topic is your tongue destroying your marriage? Now, some of y'all tongues is the reason why y'all got married, but but in this case, we mean the words that are coming out of your mouth. Is your tongue destroying your marriage? Mm-hmm. Are the words you're using to speak to your spouse, to address certain things, are they causing a rift in your marriage? Mm-hmm. Now, I think that a lot of people think that just because they're using words and talking that they're getting their point across. The problem is that most people are terrible communicators. Terrible. Your boss on your job that you can't get along with, probably a terrible communicator. Mm-hmm. And you are now married to a person that's probably a terrible communicator. You are probably a terrible communicator. And you know why? It's because effective communication is a learned behavior.
It's a skill.
Nobody is born a great communicator. Nobody. It is a skill. It's something that you have to learn. It's like being a good listener. And we'll talk about that when we talk about more about communication. But being an effective communicator is not something that you just are born with. We don't communicate well as a species, very well. If you've driven a car, you know people don't communicate very well. All the things on the car, the lights, the signals, all that stuff, and we still can't get it right. So people just don't effectively communicate very well. And we underestimate the power. Well, I think that we underestimate the power of our words. Mm-hmm. I think so. And I would even go as far as to say that because of the way we are physiologically, women are on average are much weaker than men. Women have developed certain tactics and techniques to even the playing field. So women use a lot more words than men, but women also use words to hurt more than men.
When you say weaker, you mean physically?
Physically, yeah, physically weaker. Yeah, not like that, but physically, women are upper body strength have less than men. Right. And up to, I think it's like 30-40% weaker. Mm-hmm. I hate to say the word weaker, but you know.
Yeah. You know what physical strength you're talking about.
Yeah, it's physical strength. No knock. I know some people trigger right now.
Are they punching the air?
He's using science. He's hurting my feelings because he's using science.
Science.
Why isn't he using his feelings? So, women have developed certain ways of communicating to get their point across, and even the playing field, even when it comes to that. So the way you communicate may not be effective. Yes. And maybe the reason why you're frustrated is because you're not an effective communicator. Mm-hmm. Also, fellas, you have to understand that you're gonna have to talk. Dudes don't like to talk. Y'all expect just to sex, food, beer. That's not effective communication. That's not the way you communicate. No. And so we both on both sides have problems. Women, y'all talk way too much and get way too emotional. Yeah. Dudes don't talk enough, or they wait till they get angry and they start yelling, and all communication shut down. So what I call the tongue, well, I got it from my dad years ago. He called the tongue the pink tornado because it could tear up everything in sight. Yep. The tongue it cannot be tamed. If you are a spiritual person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No man can tame the tongue. So the root of a lot of your marital problems is ineffective communication. Mm-hmm. So how would you rate our communication in the beginning of our marriage as opposed to now?
Scale of what, 1 to 10?
Let's go. Yeah, I like that.
And 10 being the best?
10 being the best, 1 being the absolute worst.
In the beginning?
In the beginning. First year.
Ooh, 2.
Yeah, I give it a strong 2.5.
Yeah. 2.
And what about now, 21 years in?
Oh, we're 10.
First of all, no, ma'am, we don't play those games over here.
I
think we're strong. I'll go
7.5, 8.
I'll give it an 8. I even give it an 8.
8?
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.
7.5, 8.
On a good day, real 8. Bad day maybe 6. But we never dipping down to 2.5 again.
No,
never. That ain't never happening. But that's 21 years.
It took a long time.
Togetherness. But I think if you understand that most of your problems are from communication, it could be anything. Most of the problems, even financial, all the problems that people have, it all kind of leads back to communication. Because if you're not communicating or you're not effectively communicating, how can you get your point across?
You can't.
How can you? If you always want to be right, that's a terrible way to communicate. You got to be right. If you're a right fighter, I always often ask people, you want to be right or you want to be happy? If you want to be right, then you can be right by yourself.
Yeah.
When you regress back into negative communication, a lot of it is rooted in your childhood. The way you communicate, it usually comes from your childhood. If you come from a family that yells a lot and you're really loud and aggressive, it's probably because you were raised that way. If you're very quiet and you go inward, that's either A, because you were raised that way, or B, you came from one of those loud families and you just chose to go inward. That's your coping mechanism. You got to understand yourself. If you're going to be an effective partner and if you're going to effectively communicate, you have to understand yourself, and you got to understand your triggers, and you got to understand why you do the things you do. It never ceases to amaze me when we're talking to somebody and we go into their childhood and we start pointing stuff out to them and they're like, oh, I never saw it that way. I'm like, you didn't. Most people don't take the time to really examine themselves.
Yeah.
But they're too busy doing this to their partner. You do this and you did that and the reason I act this way is because you did this, and that's the reason why we have a problem, because you're doing this, and that's usually not even the case. So what do you say to that, little lady?
Number 1, first, cooler heads prevail. You need to wait, kind of stop, pause, and let the heightened emotions kind of die down a little bit, because if you're trying to communicate when you're upset, he's upset, it's not going to work. So I would say number 1 is to wait to speak and even try to communicate if you can, if at all possible, once things kind of cool down just a little bit, and then maybe 5 minutes. I mean, it doesn't have to be a full-on day or 2 days, but cooler heads prevail.
Yeah, and the number 1 step to effectively communicating is choosing your words carefully. You also need to know your spouse and know what words and what tones are going to trigger them. You want to stay away from them. Like, I don't do yelling. I don't yell at her. I don't like being yelled at. Don't do that. Don't you yell at me? I'm done. Either I'm gonna turn up or I'm gonna walk away. Because I don't like being yelled at. Don't yell at me. I'm not a dog. I'm not your kid. Don't yell at me.
Yeah.
I don't like that. We can talk. We're adults. Let's talk this out. So you need to understand that. And most people, what they will do is they know that about their spouse, but they do it anyway. Do it anyway, just to get their goal. And if that's your goal, if your goal is not peace in your marriage, then you need to come see us. You need to come see us, somebody like us. Because if you want drama and trauma and all the things that go along with it, then you are toxic. I hate using that word, even though I wrote a whole book around it. But you are ineffective communicator, and you have bad coping mechanism, and you are destroying your marriage with your words.
You know what really worked for us that over the years, what we've done is when we weren't in a heated moment or in the middle of a disagreement, we actually, during a fun time, peaceful time, just kind of having normal conversation, we kind of set some ground rules for what works for us and what doesn't work for us, kind of our non-negotiables. And that included during disagreements, arguments, whatever you want to say. But like one of our things was like, we don't yell. Like I don't like yelling. I don't like people yelling at me because growing up, I don't like it. The way I grew up, I don't like being yelled at because I shut down, I withdraw. I don't like it. So don't yell at me. I'm an adult, like he said. So we've discussed those things. We don't yell. We don't name call. Do not call me out my name. My name is Chantel. If you forgot it, I can write it down, but don't call me out my name. So there are certain things that we talked about that are non-negotiables. And what we've done is it's almost like a charter that we've created. We honor that because we respect each other. I think at the end of it all, whether you're upset or not, there needs to be a certain level of mutual respect that you have for your spouse, so that when you are in those moments when you're upset and emotions are heightened, you still have the groundwork of respect. And that is a consistent work that you build over time. But if you have that foundation laid, even if I'm upset, I'm not going to call you out your name because I respect you.
And mutual respect comes with maturity. That is a huge part of a lot of people's problem. They're immature. You can be 40, 50, 60 years old and still be immature. Still be just as petty as all get out. Like I see it all the time on like social media. Like they be like, "This is how petty I am." Like the couples or whatever, and they'll take like all the toilet tissue out the house or whatever. But you have to be mature. In the real world, maturity prevails. If you want to effectively communicate, you need to be mature, and the only way you're going to gain maturity is to work on yourself. A lot of people walk to these marriages and any relationship, and they expect this person that they married to fix all of their crap. That's not their job.
Yeah.
Your job is to fix your crap. Own it, fix it. That's the way you become mature. That's the way you become a better partner. If you put that pressure, no human being should have that much pressure or that much power in your life. Not even your spouse. That's your job, to work on you becoming a better person. But if you continue to blame your partner, you're never going to get anywhere. I think that a lot of people struggle in their marriages because they really don't want to work on themselves. You can't be a lazy person and be married. You just can't. Well, you can be lazy and be married, but you will be divorced. That's going to happen. You can't.
Or miserable.
Yeah, or quietly divorced. Go back and watch that video.
You need to watch that one.
Yeah, we'll link it at the end of this. But ineffective communication can cause you to be quietly divorced. You could be miserable in your marriage, do the bare minimum just to get through, or it could lead to divorce. I think that's a good start to our communication series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Please stay tuned for more videos. But watch your mouth, people. Watch your mouth. Because that's where it starts at. How many times have you walked into the house and your partner said one word and it's like, "Oh, you want to go? Let's go." Watch your mouth.
I mean, we've heard this thing since we were children. Think before you speak.
Yeah.
Do it. Think before you speak. You know what you finna say. Finna say is about to tear everything up. You know it.
It's not worth it.
It's not.
It's not worth it. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's right there. Enough said. Y'all be good. We'll be back.